Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and I'm a hypnotherapist. I help people find the root, the cause of their issues. However, I'm also very passionate about giving out all of this information that I know so that you can start educating yourself. You can start learning about your mind and maybe find the answers. Oh, this is why I have this. This is why I react like this. This is what I can do to help myself. So this is the free resource. Please watch, subscribe, and if you like what you hear, comment, like. I want this video to come out into the world and for more people to use this method, because today we are talking about how to get rid of the fear in 5 minutes. Seems impossible, but it is possible. It just needs your commitment in those 5 minutes, the quiet place, right, that you can have for those 5 minutes. And of course, you can use this method right before some important event that you feel fear. For example, if you want to make a decision, like you have to make a decision in the next couple of days, next couple of hours, or next couple of minutes, then you can use this method when a fear is entering, and I'll tell you why we have fears. So if you may have to make a decision, if you have to talk to someone, so to lead a conversation, maybe you have to talk to your boss, maybe you have a public speaking event, maybe you have to talk to your partner and it's a difficult conversation, maybe with your parents, maybe with your child, and you have these fears with your friends, with your coworkers, whoever, some other authority, whatever it is, it's good to use this method if you start feeling like the fear is kind of gripping you. And the fear is usually a control system. It comes into our life and at some point, to protect us. Really, at some point when you were a child and when you were growing up, it came to protect us. So it was our inner security guard that, keeps reminding us of itself, of its importance, and gives us all of these fears. But usually you're giving away the control to that fear. Usually you cannot. That's why people feel so helpless when they have fear, because they don't know what to do. It's like they're out of control. Right? And the fear can accumulate and it can bring anxiety, and anxiety can accumulate, and the highest form of anxiety is a panic attack. And panic attack is a complete out of control situation. So these fears, first you have fear, then anxiety, then panic attack, even to the point of seizures. If don't have epileptic nature, then you can have seizures even, or you can pass out, right? You have freeze mode. Whatever it is, the fear has really, really serious grip on you. And another situation that it can help you, this method, is to create this space. So between your emotion and the reaction. This is something that I think that every person wants to gain. They would love to have that little space between the reaction and the emotion. And it's like when you create that space, you can become more aware of why you behave the way you behave, why you react the way you react. So let's begin. How to use this. Wow, by the way, why fears come into our life? As I said, to protect us. However, they come through a little window. What is that window? And it's funny, but you can even imagine yourself having that little window somewhere in your childhood or growing up, or maybe recently you've developed some fear or phobia. When that window opens, you open it and then you form the beliefs, you make a decision. And that moment when you open that window for the fear to come in, that's when you made that decision that, others people's opinions matter. That's when we develop fear of criticism, fear of judgment. Oh, she or he might leave me and I'll be alone. I have to do everything possible for my partner not to leave me. So fear of loneliness, fears of rejection, right? Fear of failure, right? Borns. So fears usually come when we open the door for them. And I call it a little window. So when that window is a situation, what is that window? It's a situation or a group of events that were traumatic, isolated, and very emotional. Something where you didn't have any control of. So a parent was criticizing you, or maybe, in school, teachers was comparing you or like kind of embarrassing you in front of the class, right? So in that little moment, because you're so out of control, you're becoming vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you open the door into your psyche, and you open the door to little triggers like these fears. So in order to close that, right, to close that window, or to really kind of cancel that decision, let's just say, that you made in that emotional moment, we need to do this little practice. And this is very easy. It's an energy practice, right? So if you believe in energy, if you believe that you can release your emotions just with the power of your mind, that can help you. And it will only take you 5 minutes. Let's begin. The first that I will ask you is, you need to find a comfortable position, maybe a quiet place. If you are, for example, at work, and you need to use that method to release the fear before a conversation, meeting, or whatever it is, you can go to the washroom, or you can go and find like that lunchroom, some quiet place, another office that you can be by yourself and no one can see you, because you're going to be doing these little movements. And if someone walks in, they can definitely, they will not understand what you're doing. So, if you're at home, then you can just find a good place. Whenever you are, just maybe in the car, right? You can do that in the car if you're waiting for something. So you find that comfortable position and you close your eyes. Why do you need to close your eyes? It's because when you close your eyes, you see so much more than when you do with your open eyes. With your open eyes, your mind is like a camera. It pictures and takes snapshots of different situations, the weather, someone else's reaction, the air, the smell. Like, you are reacting to so many things and your mind is always working. So in order to switch off a little bit that logic, just close your eyes. When you close your eyes, I want you to really imagine that fear. For some people, and it can be applied to any fear you have, even if it's just like a irrational fear, like fear of flying, right, or fear of criticism, or it could be a fear of spiders or snakes, or fear of animals, and you know that you will go in contact with them, and you need to release that fear. So when you imagine that fear, some people will imagine it outside of their body. It's like a cage. I imagined fear of criticism as a cage, and some people will imagine it as something inside. It's like, a black hole or a black spiky ball. Some people will imagine it as some bright thing in their body that is holding them back. Because usually fear creates anxiety. Anxiety is this gripping, tightening, squeezing, right, of your heart, chest, throat, and whatever head, right, when we had a headache, sometimes when we are anxious. So whatever you imagine that fear. Where do you see it? Is it in your stomach? Maybe in your chest? Maybe it is around you. Maybe it's like a bag. Some people, I had clients who imagined their fear like a garbage bag, and they're sitting in that garbage bag and they cannot get out and they cannot breathe. That's when the panic starts, right? So whatever you imagine, it's the right way. There is no wrong or right. It is your way. It is your way, your imagination. Our subconscious mind always works in symbols and metaphors. Never works very literally, right? So it works in this matter. So we imagine things by the way, in the subconscious mind understands everything literally, but works in metaphors and associations and symbols. So when you imagine that fear, you have it. You kind of created that image with your closed eyes. You ask one question. What is this fear doing for me? How does it feel to have it? And you will come up with your own answers. Maybe it's holding me back. Maybe it's pulling me back towards my old behaviors. Maybe it's squeezing, kind of holding me. Whatever it is, just imagine what that fear is doing for you. Punishing me maybe, or maybe it's like a protective wall that is right in front of you. So it's protecting you, right? What is it doing for you? And then I want you to imagine that little window that you open that little window, and that's the decision that you made to let that fear in. What was that decision? Maybe one of them. I'm sure you had so many in your childhood or in your recent years or growing up that could lead to that decision. You don't have to remember the initial one. You can remember one of them, right? Because you will open in that window a lot of times, every time that fear would come in. So where did that make you made that decision to let that fear in your life? Maybe you were just a small child. Maybe you got scared. Maybe you got rejected. Maybe you got lonely and sad. Maybe you got embarrassed in front of the people. Maybe you were criticized. Maybe you were compared to someone that you made that believe that I'm not good enough, and this fear of failure came into your life. So when you imagine that little window, right? I want you to imagine that you gave away control to that fear. Through that window, it's like you are driving your best car. It's your body and mind, and you just took the keys and gave it to your fear. So it's like you are supposed to drive your own car and own your mind, right? There is only one owner of your mind, and it's either you or something else. The fear, the criticism, the phobia, the depression, anxiety. So through that window, I want you to visualize that little window. Maybe it's somewhere in your body, maybe outside, maybe on the back of your head, whatever it is. Imagine that through that window, that fear comes in, and does its job, right? Protecting you, punishing you, bringing you pain. So when you do that, I want you to imagine, what if you cancel that decision? What if you close that window? You made that decision when you were a child or growing up, or you didn't know what you know now, right? What happens with the fear when you close that window? And visualize how you do that. Some people, I've had clients who would cement the window or the door. Whatever it is, in your mind, you're doing a huge inner work. You don't even realize how huge it is until you open your eyes and realize that, oh, that's a big inner work in 5 minutes. So when you visualize, you close that window, destroyed it, then you will see, what is this fear now doing for you? Now that it doesn't have a hold on you, it cannot control you anymore. Now I want you to look at that fear without its power on you. What do you feel? And I want you to repeat these words. I am taking my power back. I'm taking my control back. Thank you for being in my life, but I am the owner of my mind. And I will control my reactions, and I will control my emotions. And you came into my life to help me, but you don't help me anymore. So some people even get frustrated, get angry, get mad. But you have to communicate with that fear to take your power back. You cannot grip me. You cannot hold me. You cannot squeeze me if that's what the fear feels like it's doing, right? You cannot squeeze and restrict my throat, right? If you have a fear of public speaking. So whatever it's doing for you, say that. Make it visible to the fear. Make it express all your emotions. And I'm taking my power back. And you say to the fear, I'm taking my power back. And when you feel the release, because right immediately you will feel like it's getting better. Like you are gaining back your control. It's like you can even visualize how you take the keys from that fear, if that's in the form of a person. Some people visualize the fear in the form of a person. When you take those keys back, or you take that control back, you can easily, happily open your eyes. When you open your eyes, usually people feel, I can do that. It's not a permanent fix. I'm telling you this, it's not a permanent fix from the fear, but it can definitely give you that confidence, that control back for at least a little bit. At least to be confident in a conversation, making a decision, or creating that space between you and the reaction, between the emotion and the reaction. So please do that. If you need to do that twice, do that twice. If you have more than one fear, and you say, oh, there is a fear of failure coming in as well, do that with the fear of failure. Maybe it will take you 10 minutes. Do this exercise and you will see the release. It gets easier, right? And then you'll feel that the fear just disappears. Usually we just breathe them in, breathe them out, those fears. If that fear was outside of your body, then you'll see that the walls are coming down, or it's kind of like, it's like a sand that is kind of like wind, going with the wind. So whatever you imagine in your mind, you will see the release. You will notice when it went away. So I hope this exercise will help you. This is really powerful. I do that. I use that many times, when some intrusive or obsessive thought comes into my mind and I need to make a decision. That's a really good exercise. So if you like what you hear, I'm here all the time. I post every other day. I hope you like these videos. It's learning about your mind, learning about the power of your subconscious mind and what you can do by yourself. If you feel like it's still not good enough and your fear is still kind of having a huge hold on you, then could be a multi-layered conflict, and you can absolutely use the guidance. And I guide everyone in RTT hypnotherapy. This is an amazing, incredible method. If you want to experience that, my details are in the description. I wish you all the best. Be healthy physically and emotionally. I love you all. Bye.